Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Coffee Club Podcast, episode 88. We are doing something very special today. The boys, Olli and George, are overseas. George is traveling right now. Olli is racing in Morocco. So we're going to bring them in at the end of the episode to give their race recaps and all that. But for now, we have a couple of very special guests who are here in Boulder who we cannot pass up the opportunity to have them on the show. So first off, we have a stand-in host, I guess. Was that what you would refer to it as?
Yeah, because, we have a special guest star, I'd say, but I'm just kind of like, I've been on the show. I can play.
Regular.
Yeah.
And that's Mr. Tom Wang, if you can't recognize his voice, Wam Tang. And then the other one, if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to be probably thinking, who is this guy with the mad disguise on? I have no idea. What is he wearing? It's crazy. But this is Mr. No Context Track and Field. Wait, is it No Context Track and Field or Track and XC?
Well, on my username, it's NoContextXCTrack.
Okay.
But I've been referred to No Context Track, No Context Cross Country Track. I get all the
too much context.
Yeah,
too much context.
All of it's just too much context.
Too much context. So we're going to get into an interview today with Mr. No Context, following up his big Citrus Mag interview. I really wish that we had done that before them because, we're massive competitors and all that. But I think we'll probably just have a better interview. If we can't do it first,
that one's definitely,
Yeah.
So we'll try that. But before we get into it, a little bean shout out. This one goes out to I guess it'd be pronounced Bonner Coffee Roasters. I was about to say Boner. Probably Bonner. Maybe
bricked up right now.
Think about a rebranding to Boner Coffee Roasters. But they dropped off some stickers, magnets, and this bag of coffee beans, freshly roasted, Boulder locals. I posted them on our Coffee Club story, and then I promptly removed it because I accidentally leaked our address in that post. Professionals here. So thank you very much for that. Very excited to try those, local company. And they have a shop here as well. So excited.
And the truck. I was here. I happened to be here when he knocked on the door, and they pulled up with this nice, beautiful Boner coffee truck.
Boner?
And he's really, Boner truck. He was really truck. Nice.
Competing with the, how... what's that Wiener dog company?
Yeah, Nathan's.
It's just they got the Boner truck. Doesn't really work as well for coffee, but thank you.
I'm sure they're gonna love this. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the beans. I'm very excited to try them. And one other thing that we wanted to cover before we got into the proper interview is last episode we had Kevin Boyle on, coaching Kev, our new athlete. And he pitched to us an app idea, and I referenced Tom as our in-house designer, software designer, and said that I would ask him about it. And then I asked him about it, and I realized this is something that we had talked about before. It's an idea that Tom specifically has messaged me about before, saying this is would be really cool to do. And so my question for you, in reference to to kind of help give an idea to all the listeners. We're talking about collating all these, essentially we're talking about a system where we can collate all these results, and so then it can be presented well to the fans, the audience, transparency with all these results and upcoming races in particular. From the creating that standpoint, what does that actually take? Why is that hard to do? And why is it maybe not worth it?
Yes. Well, one, thank you to everybody who reached out. I didn't actually listen to the episode right away, but I got a full inbox of eager young software developers that wanted to chip in, which is really cool. And then two, just a comment before I get into it. Kev's idea is really cool. I think his was thinking more the notification center, which would be a beautiful feature of an app that keeps you up to date and, tells you when your athletes are racing. But the thing that I had imagined, and I think a bunch of people have imagined, it's not an unoriginal idea. It exists for college and high school in TFRS and mile split, but is a home for all of a home that's usable and explorable and provides more value than maybe, and is easier to navigate than the World Athletics website, but a way to just get track data, get track information, see who's racing, see the schedule, look into athlete, history results, things like that. So that's, that would be the kind of meat and potatoes of whatever this service is. Like even if you were to just build the notification part, you're still thinking about how do you warehouse all that data, whether or not you display it or how you display it. And then to get into like your question about the technical details, you can actually ask chat. I actually, I've thought about this. I've worked at Tivers before, actually, as an intern, and then on and off in college. I worked actually at a live sports related startup working with live sports data. So,
So you're the expert.
Yes, the concepts aren't new to me. I plugged it into ChatGPT. Like the short answer, if you just want to like tune out of everything I'm going to say, you can actually ask ChatGPT, how do I build a website that does this, or exactly kind of like you just take Kevin's transcript. It'll spit out something that like gives you kind of a North Star to make something like this. But obviously you need to build a front end, like a website of some kind for users to interact with and input the dialogue, or like your number, how to contact you. And then something in the back end would be like, if I were to do it, and now I'm going to start saying stuff that may not land with everybody, but one Google product, Firebase, is really good for spinning up apps really easily. And, there's notification features in there. There's a database feature in there. That stuff is actually, there's complexity to it, but the hard part is getting all the data in there, which would be like working with whoever is providing that data, whether that's Meets or World
Coaches,
Athletics.
teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually the like part I would challenge Kevin to go after. Like, where is it coming from? Like, who's getting it? Because there's no like, at my last company, we use a sports data provider that like the same place that ESPN and Google use, and they charge you a fee for it. But you'd actually be responsible for figuring out all the pro races yourself. That's the hard part.
That's kind of, you did lose me there.
Yeah.
Firebase.
Yeah, I was realizing, wait, I shouldn't get any deeper than this.
But definitely the simple part of it, which is just the obvious difficulty, because what Athletics does already is, I would say what Athletics doesn't do it in the most like friendly, searchable way. They do show all your results now.
Yeah.
They have that feature, but they have nothing to do with the scheduling side of it, which is a part that Kevin was talking about a lot. And it is just the reality. Like athletes don't even like know their schedules until a few days before a race.
Right.
So how is anyone going to have that information freely available? So that is the reality of the big challenge which we face in the sport, which would be solved by a league where everyone knew who was competing all the time. But the way it works at the moment, pretty impossible to find that stuff out. And I do credit athletes I think some athletes do a really good job at posting, this is my outdoor schedule. And I think people appreciate
just
that.
Just like your last Coffee Club post.
Yeah, we did that one time. Little race alert. So I think people do appreciate that a lot, because it is crazy to think that professional athletes are competing. Your favorite professional athlete might be competing, and you might not even know until it's too late to tune in or whatever. So
yeah, there's no like, what I really want, and I guess the closest thing that exists is like the Let's Run homepage for just like your one-stop shop. But even then, they're pushing like all of their kind of like media coverage, which is fine, but you still have to do like digging to know what are the races this weekend and why, like who's in them and who has to pay attention. But if there's
there's no simple, easy way where you can just click through and it presents it to you in a way that you would want it to be presented.
Right.
It always takes a bit of work as a fan. We don't make it easy.
And my favorite thing about Tifers and Milesplit is like going into, Morgan McDonald's page and then going to a race and be like, he got second. Well, who beat him? And you so can't actually click into on World Athletics, you can't, but,
It's so nice. So thank you for explaining that. Does make sense to me a lot better now, the challenges that we are facing, but perhaps we will work to try combat those challenges. We'll see. But working into the big interview with Mr. No Context now. Are you nervous?
Just a little bit, but Tom's little ramble just put me to sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
Me too, actually. I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah.
All right.
I dug myself a hole.
First question. Who are you?
That's too much context.
That was a trick question, and you answered that correctly. Now, I think one thing that the three of us can connect on and have a nice chat about is the media side of the sport of track and field. Tom is a big fan, and now he's probably one of the most connected people in terms of knows very well a lot of people who are very involved in media side of sport, and now he's breaking into it himself, perhaps working into it.
Yeah.
On ambassador.
Yeah. Wait. This interview is not about me, though.
And then Mr. No Context here. Is that what I should call you?
Yeah, that's fine.
No Context.
Well, Mr. reveals like his gender.
There's no context for the gender?
Yeah, I've already said that.
It's male? Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. No Context has the fastest growing meme page in the sport, fastest growing page in general in the sport, which we all love, especially I can't imagine how much high schoolers love it, because us pro runners love it so much. It's so entertaining to us. And obviously I'm also very interested in this stuff. It's kind of my job to be involved in all of it. So pretty much starting from a very basic, broad question, what has running this meme page taught you about the running world? And you could touch on specifically like the business side of it. I know you're kind of getting to that now, but just on a basic level, like what has it made you think about the running world that you maybe didn't think about before you had a highly successful meme page?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's made me think about, between all of the botched results pages that I post, or like mid-race when it says that someone's running the 10,000 meter steeple, or people are racing that aren't actually racing. So it definitely shows like that side of the sport that definitely needs some help.
You're good at exposing people.
Yeah, so it doesn't land on my page as much. But then another thing is, as you mentioned, I'm getting into the business side, but learning going in depth on how like the business side of running works, and realizing it's a lot more complicated than, I mean, we all know it's kind of messed up, but just realizing how much like hoops there are to jump through just to even just try to be somewhat successful. And that's, this is part of, I don't know if I'll ever be able to change it, but at least posting about it brings a little awareness to it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you've been like the hub. I would say the hub of like pop culture and running, at least for there's no like you serve like such a unique purpose, and you're really good at it.
There's no other page or outlet. There's no consistent content creator that I enjoy as much as your page, and that's the thing. It's something that I've talked about before, where on the most basic level, when you talk about running as a professional sport, it's an entertainment industry. So you're looking for ways to make it as entertaining as possible. Mm-hmm. And a big part of that is amazing performances, inspiring performances. But a lot of the time, we just want something to laugh at.
Yeah.
You're not going to beat something that you just can, like someone can break the world record, but I might laugh at him. I might be more interested in some really good meme than someone breaking the world record on a given day, depending how I'm feeling. And it is something that is hard to achieve in this sport because of just the way personalities are often, it's hard to show them. In other sports, it's a lot easier, Like you can think of how in the NBA, you can fall in love with all these characters, the people, and they can show it in these interviews and all that. But in this sport, it is a lot more difficult. So your page definitely is filling that void in my life personally. And for a lot of people, I think there's no like big YouTube channel or anything that I'm really into. Citrus Mag, they're big and they're really good at what they do, but they're not trying to be funny.
Yeah, they're just all like very like professional news. Actually, they do so.
They do try to be funny. Their Twitter bio just says "and humor." I think
they do try to be funny sometimes, but I think
Tom was really wanted to say this. Like, should I say that?
They do. Yeah. No.
I think my page just does humor different. A little bit better than Chris and Kyle. All those guys.
Yeah. There's beef. I mean, two competing media companies. Yeah, it's like
two media giants.
In
the sport. I don't know how. I guess Citrus Mag probably has like 100K. What do they have? They
What city is
They're
Citrus Mag, sorry. They're pretty big.
Yeah. They talked about that in their interview.
Yeah.
You guys, right?
Yeah. That was, I don't know how many followers I had back then. It was probably like 24 or 25.
What do you know?
29.1, I think.
29.1 and growing.
Yeah.
What is your daily growth rate?
Well, there's like, I've had a couple off days recently, like just between traveling, and I haven't been posting as much. But since like January or December, I've had a consistent growth of 100 or more followers a day.
That's really impressive.
Yeah.
So what does that equate to? You're just gonna, I guess eventually it's of infinity. If
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
go
I
that
think
rate forever.
I'd round up to infinity.
Yeah.
Pretty much. As far as
actually,
I don't know a runner who doesn't know the page. So,
But we did have a talk yesterday where you said you did comment you're interested as to how far that's going to go, because eventually you would think it's very impressive to consistently grow that much, but you would think that eventually there would be a cap on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, high school track has like the largest participation in America, but like, I mean, there's not an infinite amount of kids that are going to follow it. And like, how many more people are there out there that are like going to follow it? And like one day it's just going to like flatline.
I suppose though, if you think about it, how many kids start track every year?
Yeah.
there's like you're like barely scratching the surface of like the potential. So it's going to be exciting, to see where you go.
I am very interested as to how you're going to turn it into a business. You don't have to reveal anything here. I'm sure you
I'm
have.
trying to figure that out too. So,
So we can do a little round table. I'm just imagining that, when someone has something that works as well as what you're doing works, everyone wants to be a part of it, because it's really hard to organically achieve that. No company can manufacture that. So pretty much companies have to just find their way to be a part of it, like jump on the bandwagon. I know you're speaking to companies. I know you'll be working on that. I wouldn't be surprised if World Athletics is reaching out to you and being like, hey, we need you to like reach this audience, because like we're not doing it. So
If they're smart.
yeah, they haven't hit me up yet, but
they have.
This is an open call.
Yeah.
Sebco,
You're on notice.
please.
Sebco, definitely listen to this one. But because I see sometimes World Athletics will be like looking for social media intern and stuff. And it's just like, what are they doing? What are they trying? You know how they tried to make a lot of memes?
Yeah. During that, whatever.
They're the phase where they're doing the split faces and all that.
Yeah.
They've
Or
kind of
the,
cooled off a bit.
Safan Hassan's day off.
What was that one?
It was during, I think it was either during the Olympics or World Champs when she was doing the triple. So like she only had like a couple days like throughout the entire competition where she wasn't doing anything or wasn't racing. So they made up like all these like outlandish things like from race pictures like into her like water sliding and like riding a horse.
I think I've seen these pictures actually. Yeah, dude, all those World Athletics memes could probably just be sent to you and reposted on your account
just
as like
do
nice
real
try.
numbers.
Yeah. It's like nice try, World Athletics. Like we're gonna laugh at you, unfortunately. But we've talked about the growth side of it a bit, but looking at what does it actually take on your end to run that page? How much work are you putting in?
Well, early in the account, I was doing like most or all the work, scrolling to the bottom of professional runners' Twitters and, doing all that fun stuff. I don't want to know how many hours I was spending a day on it.
Hard work.
But then now what it's transitioned to, because I have so many followers and I get so many DMs from everyone every day, I just go through my DMs as like 90-something% of my content is just sent to me now. So it's nice to not have to do all that much work. It's kind of like not passive, because I definitely still have to like curate and figure out like when I'm going to post stuff. But
what's your daily Instagram usage? Do you check that?
I try to
Your screen time.
be conscious of that.
Because you're a busy man. If you follow No Context as from the subscriber, you would see this is a busy man getting a degree in chemistry.
Right.
Grinding.
That's no joke.
Yeah. And
You
a
just did
athlete.
did a full year of organic chemistry,
Yeah.
collegiate running, and running the most popular meme page in running.
Yeah, don't forget that analytical chemistry last semester.
Yeah.
That was.
What was it? Did you check your time?
Yeah, it was like 2.5 hours.
Oh, that's probably less.
That's probably less than me.
Wow. Okay. Very impressive.
Yeah.
You're very disciplined. I guess that's what it takes. It is, I think, so cool. I think that's part of what makes it so special is the crowd sourcing, the involvement from everyone. I know many of my teammates have sent you a lot of pictures that end up on there.
Well, like I spend some time occasionally volunteering for my high school, like as a track coach, and at meets they'll say, like, the kids are saying, like, we got to get on No Context. Like, they're like plotting how to get on No Context and thinking about it actively.
What is the worst form of like a self-submission that you've ever received, or like these kids are trying way too hard to get on here?
Well, there's definitely like obvious ones. I don't know if I should name drop them or not.
Say what it is.
Yeah.
Say what it is first, and then we can assess if it's how embarrassing it is,
Right.
how detrimental to their reputation it is.
Well, he sent me a shirtless mirror selfie of him. He's wearing like short shorts and high socks with sunglasses. And then he DM'd it to me and said, "Post this and tag me."
That's a professional runner?
No, it's a pretty well-known high schooler.
You know, there's like, if you made like a inverse account where it was just like the posts that are rejected from your like your main account, it would probably do pretty well too. Like where everyone views it in the context of like, that wasn't good enough.
Not good enough.
Just
to
like,
context.
And like as punishment, you provide full context.
That would be actually.
Yeah, that's
There's a lot of that reminds me of. There's a lot of they're not accounts that are trying to copy you, but they're accounts that are trying to play off you. Like there's no context burner.
Oh yeah, burner and backup are both like mine.
Oh,
that's you?
That's you.
Yeah, I just have those to comment.
Sometimes they have like the best comments too.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I don't know.
Wait,
if I shouldn't have ruined
we
that.
gotta.
I totally
We're
thought
cutting
that
that
was
out.
someone else playing on the joke, and their whole joke was just commenting on only your
Dude,
pictures.
I was like, those kids are genius. Whoever's playing off.
No,
You're
because
just a super genius.
Are they
so-
backups? Like in case you get taken.
well,
down?
the backup is an actual backup. Like I only posted like 8 things on it, but it's got like 500 followers, which is kind of funny. But
is the idea you don't start from nothing if you?
I guess
the whole
it
ship
was
went down
more of
one
just
day?
like as like a place to like comment stuff,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
sometimes like I'll be looking through the comment section and I'll want like a specific pop culture reference and no one's seeming to get it, and then once I comment, then it's like but that was like more in the beginning because people were like still like kind of unsure about what the account was, so I don't use those as much anymore.
Did someone make an account at one point that was context track and field?
Yeah,
And they
there
would
was
just put like
Was that you as well?
captions.
No, that wasn't
on
me.
your pictures.
There was there's NoContextXCTrack. There's some NoContextXCTrack. I think there was a little NoContextXCTrack, but then on top of that, there's all of these high school pages that are coming out as well, like whatever high school, like BHS NoContextXCTrack.
Their own versions.
Yeah, and like I think there's like an Illinois one or something like that, and like a bunch of like a whole ones for like different sections of a state. So it's
a no context multiverse.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What was your inspiration for the page? Because it exists in all sports, I imagine.
Yeah, I think there's no context. Like you're just telling me about no context humans.
Yeah,
on Twitter.
that one is wild. I
I saw
regret
that one's
opening
got like
that.
2 million followers.
Yeah.
But so I had my old meme account running content memes.
Wait, you run running content memes?
Yeah.
How big is that?
Well, when I stopped posting on it, which was probably about a year ago now, it had like 3,000 followers, but I just kept it in the bio of NoContextXCTrack, and it's grown to like 4,200 or something like that.
So this is
But
not
you
an
haven't-
overnight success story. You've been working on
No,
this.
yeah, it's I've been on like the Instagram meme since like summer 2020.
That's so impressive.
Yeah. A lot of like modern track and field content was like born that summer.
You're gonna get hired by you're gonna get hired by probably Wendy's just to make memes for them. Like a big corporation, you know, where their whole thing now is like, let's capture this audience via the kids via memes.
Right.
And there's got to be no better resume than, hey, I have this meme.
Yeah.
I run 3 successful meme accounts. So I do want to ask you about your early beginnings. Like, because I'm trying to say, like, you got the last laugh here, but in the early days, what was it like when you were just grinding and you have to start an Instagram account from 0 followers? That's got to be pretty daunting, and people are going to be looking at you like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, well, so that, like, running content memes, how I started that, I was watching like a lot of running YouTube, which was when that started to take off. And I don't know, I thought a lot of the videos were funny, and I just kind of made like a couple memes about it, and I was like, oh, you know what, like I could actually like make like something. I kind of want an outlet for this. Like I'm not doing anything else. It's summer, it's COVID. Like, I just want, I can use my free time for this. And so then I started making more memes. And then as that grew, I found more YouTubers and Instagram, runners on Instagram to follow. And then that kind of built up the account to what it was. And then from there, I just had like a bunch of random photos of pro runners in my camera roll. And I was a freshman in college at that point, and I was like, well, I don't want to delete like all these because these photos are like pretty great, but these don't really fit into the niche of running content memes, because all of those ones were just like about a specific video or like a specific race or something. And so I was like, so my roommate from last year, he was like, oh, like you should make like a no context page. And then I was like, yeah, like I'm going to make like NoContextXCTrack. Mm-hmm. And then that was
it.
Gave myself a shout out on running content memes. And then it just kind of went from there.
It's an amazing growth hack that like when someone gets posted on no context, like they just want to share it. So like, it's just like constantly being.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the biggest person that has reposted one of your posts?
Danny Duncan. When he was at Stanford, because like he and Charles Hicks are like friends because they're both from Florida,
and they're both YouTubers.
And so,
runners.
I have a picture of his mile split somewhere in my camera roll.
What are his PRs?
I couldn't say, but when he reposted the picture of him just like sitting in the corner, like over by the finish line, like on the track at Stanford. He's got like 3 points, whatever, million followers.
Yeah, he's huge. He's much bigger than the.
Yeah,
he's much bigger than the sport.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing.
Wow, I did not expect you to say Danny Duncan. He is. I mean, a lot of our listeners will know who he is. He's a big prankster on YouTube, probably biggest with kids. But he's got the funniest connection to running. He loves running because he grew up doing track and cross country, I think. So some of his videos, he's like does the most wild. Classic Florida man pranks, and then he'll just like go to a track meet. He went to the Stanford track meet. He's gone to like cross country meets before. He's friends with Andrew Weeding.
The sport is like not taking advantage of this at all.
Yeah,
it's like
and then after he went to the Stanford meet, he was up at like Oregon, like taking a tour of Hayward Field and
posting his story,
like
and
in the locker room and everything. Like it's like.
It was so Andy was talking to him, I don't know if I can say this. Pretty much Andy was talking to him about like us doing something with him, and I said to Andy, I will fly to Florida on 0 notice to do anything.
You would pay
with
out
him.
of pocket.
I would do 0 notice to do anything with him, just say the word. Haven't heard the word yet. Still waiting on the word. But he transcends the sport. He's just massive creator. He just knows how to make things sell, makes bucket loads of money and has a lot of fun with it, and he's very entertaining, so would be a very good person to integrate more with the sport if we could. But that's a great answer to that question.
Danny Duncan Invitational.
With it I would love to meet run by him, see what his
if he pretty much that
would be nuts.
I don't know if you'd want to be at that meet.
That's what we're trying to achieve.
I'd want to watch a video about that.
It would be madness. It'd be madness. But one of the other questions that I wanted to ask you, is it kind of surreal? So you took the trip to Boulder,
Yeah.
and you're getting to meet for the first time a few professional runners,
Yeah, including yourself.
including myself, who you were fans of, and then you come meet us, and then we're like, whoa, we're massive fans of you.
Yeah, that was I first got here and went on a run and then ended up at the Niwot track after a couple professionals workouts, and passed out some stickers, and I'm like huge fans of you guys, and it was Josette, Alicia was there, Joe was there, Carmela, some of the OAC Down Under people, almost got taken out by Ritz when he was running on the infield, some of Team Boss, and some of Tin Man.
Ritz follows you as well.
Yes, yeah, he does. Jordy Beamish does not, though.
Getting caught out. Thank God you guys aren't in the same room. That'd be too awkward. Wouldn't be able to take that.
Yeah.
But I was passing out stickers, and then Robbie Andrews comes over, and he's like, "It's like Christmas, but you get to meet Santa Claus." And I was like, I don't think you realize like how big of fans like I'm of like all of you guys, and you guys like are coming over to me like wanting to meet me. So yeah, it's kind of like a weird like mix where it's like, oh, like I have like a lot of followers and stuff, but I'm like at the same time like, oh, you like won the US 10K champ, like you like you've like been to the Olympics and World's Championship, like and I'm just like over here running a meme page.
No, man, it's what you do is we love it so much, and I think every day, like we're almost every day at training, we're probably talking about what you posted. That's how relevant you are in our lives.
You give them hope. You give the pros hope.
Yeah, like,
You give them something to look forward to.
Yeah. Is the OAC your favorite team?
Yeah, definitely.
Who's your favorite?
If you couldn't tell by the like severe amount of content.
Do you feel bad sometimes that you?
Sometimes I do, because I'm like, oh man, I already posted Morgan like 3 times this week. I'm gonna save this one for later, or something like that. Or like, oh man, do I not have anything of like Bowerman or something? I mean, bowel movement.
I would love to see the data on like the most frequently post athletes, and
that would be interesting.
Someone in the Discord can take care of that.
Hopefully. And who do you personally want to post more of but don't get enough submissions for?
Probably like throwers, because I just got like into the thrower market.
That was huge.
When Throwers Universe.
Yeah, that was
when they posted or reposted something of mine, I got like a ton more thrower followers, but then like, and I tried to post like another thrower thing, but then like the next like 2 weeks I was like, I don't have anything like thrower related. I feel kind of bad because I just got like 200 followers from this account alone, and then they like
trying to give them some content.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you posted on your story like, throwers hit me up.
But then was it
probably flood with
yesterday? You posted a very good one. Was it yesterday? The Let's Run thread?
Oh, yeah, that was a repost. They reposted it.
So that was the one from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was or actually that one might have been from like a couple months ago now.
For the listeners, what could you recap what the post was?
It's an all-out or 1,500 meter race between Ryan Krauser and Alicia Monson. It's a 1,500 meter track that's like goes straight, so Ryan Krauser can't wait for Alicia and like body slam her.
Wait, that's a critical component.
Oh, but it's all contact is legal. Who's gonna win?
You know, we had the exact same talks in college where we like, what if they did a version of cross country where it was full contact, and so like your team would be made up of like really good runners and then people who were just like the brawlers.
Right. It would turn into I mean, that's kind of what football like. I mean, it'd be like endurance football with like an O-line. And have you talked to Alicia about that post? Has she
probably,
because I know it did. Yeah.
Did Ryan Krauser comment on it?
I think he did when I originally posted it.
Was he down?
I think so. We should probably get that going.
Balls in your court, Alicia.
The thing with that race is if you play it out in your head, if it's a straight line, the track, everything's going to happen in the first 50 meters because
Yeah.
if he doesn't catch her if he doesn't catch her
Right.
Then
and
he's never
restrain
going
her
to.
in the first 50 meters,
Well, my follow-up question, I didn't read the third in detail. What lanes are they in, and can they exit their lanes?
obviously they can exit.
They didn't go into like that specific.
Because then you know, then it's kind of like horizontal agility as well.
Yeah.
Like there's like we're talking like a different plane of movement.
It's just a game of chase. For
Just
50,
tag.
50 meters. It's just, can Ryan Krause restrain Alicia?
And can she gap him?
And
if he's
then
gapped, it's
can she
over.
gap
Can she outmaneuver him?
Yeah.
Outsmart him. I don't know. Like, you know.
There could be a lot of tactics that come into play, yeah. But yeah, the throw is. I didn't expect you to say that, but that would be a great. I mean, do you think that you've infiltrated the sprint market?
No, that's the other one. I mean, like, especially during like cross country season, I remember I got a comment was like, "Why aren't you posting sprinters?" And I was like, "Oh, it's like cross country season, so there's not like a lot of sprinting going on." But yeah, so I definitely feel like I could do a lot more with sprinters as well.
Got to get Shikari on there or something.
Yeah.
In your defense, like, it's also submission based. So it's up
Yeah.
to, you know, I mean, obviously you could like, post it, you could
yeah.
solicit some more, but like, it's up to the sprinters.
There is some
Take some crazy
Now that I'm
pictures of
thinking
each
about
other.
it, there has been some amazing
And jumpers.
sprinting and probably jumping stuff as well. That's been going
Yeah.
on the last few weeks. Did you post when you posted the 4x4 between, was it USC and
Oh yeah, when
UCLA.
both of them got disqualified at a
Yeah.
dual meet.
Yeah.
That's how I found out about it. I mean, to
Also
go back
news
to like
source.
your
Yeah,
my
I'm
like primary.
Gonna take over as track news as well.
Yeah. So, have there been any? I'm just firing questions away. Have there been any pro runners that you've posted something and then they've gotten offended by it and you've felt bad and had to take it down or apologize to them?
I don't think it has been a pro, like, because usually like it's pretty like the stuff that asks to get taken down is like more no, I don't want to say that it's too like personal, but I don't think I've had an issue with the pro. It's mostly been like high schoolers.
Yeah, so
for the most part.
what's your filtering process between posts that you're thinking this is funny but I can't post it for these reasons? How do you go through them like that?
Sometimes it's just like depending on what I'm feeling. Like if I'm like, oh, I don't want to post anything risky like right now. Like I already just had like a risky post.
But sometimes you're in the mood to
But-
post something.
Yeah, sometimes there's a time and place.
But like for the most part, I try like anything with like drinking. Like stay away from unless like they're like
Brand
like,
safety.
over
Yeah.
to like definitely over 21, because like there'll be like I've gotten ones from like college parties. I'm like I just don't want to.
Yeah, that's messy. It'd be real messy.
Do you,
And then like any like not like performance enhancing drugs, but just
you're gonna make
submissions
the
with
next break. You're gonna
Just
like
the-
take down all the big people.
McCluffy's just sending a picture.
just the recreational drug use. I haven't posted any of that. Just
That's
you know.
respect. That's I appreciate that. That's
You know what that makes me think of? Do you guys? This is a real weird reference right now, but I would say this is like the golden era of new gen content when they were making the Colorado footage. He had
Summer
stuff in his
2020.
videos.
Yeah,
of, like,
yeah, I
drugs. It's
remember
like,
that.
It's like, what are you doing? You're gonna get these kids in so much trouble. Oh,
So
that's
have there been like a lot of is it a frequent thing or is it really just
and-
once in a blue moon?
I think
request
I've
to
ever
take it down.
taken down like. Well, I've only like deleted like 3 or 4 posts, like actually, and then there's been like, because I post like a bunch of photos in one post, so I'll like delete like one specific photo. I've probably done that like 5 or 6 times, but I feel like for the most part I do a decent job of not going too far.
Yeah,
But,
I think
you know.
so too.
How much blackmail do you have on people?
You're like the most dangerous
Yeah.
person in this
You,
sport.
do you have a folder where you put the
I
secret
should
the
probably, so I don't like
the goodies.
because there's some stuff in there that like like one of the things I sent you.
Whoa, what does that mean?
Or one of the things.
I'll explain it. He
One of
has
the things
shared-
you sent yourself.
He has shared some pictures with me about teammates that would be quite damaging to reputations.
Okay, I've seen. I was here. I saw that one.
That was sent to him from just complete randoms.
Right.
Yeah. What were we talking about now?
That's the beauty. Actually, that's like the beauty of you getting out here and meeting the pros, because like then you can have those like you have to like I've never been able to show anybody this and I never will, but you got to see this.
Yeah, that is nice because I'm like, because I can't post that and I couldn't even like, I don't even know if sending it to you, but it's just like in person, just kind of funny.
Yeah, like look at this.
Yeah,
I got this.
The Adam Levine.
Look at what your teammates doing.
Can't say anything more about that. You should start an OnlyFans where you can't do that actually.
Well, no, but
people have asked.
Well, it's not like you have to post like crazy stuff there, but it's just like a paywall for like even better stuff that
I guess. Well, you literally have a subscriber.
You do. Yeah.
Which the funniest thing about that is you accidentally did that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was just trying to set up like my banking information with Instagram so that I could like, because just for down the road stuff, and then it like automatically set up my subscriptions, and then like
who are your first two subscribers?
The next like. I don't know how long it took, but next thing I knew, the two people sitting at this table had both subscribed to the account.
Did you just? I got a push notification, and I was like, done.
I was instant subscriber.
I would pay more. I don't pay enough actually. I'll Venmo you after this.
I'm a little bit sad because, as I said before, pretty much the daily post to the subscribers was you in chemistry lab. Yeah. And now that you're on summer break, not getting my
I'm not getting my fix.
So if you could, I don't know, maybe
I'll do
like
some
something
home
you
labs.
eat or something.
Oh yeah.
Are you gonna replace it with something
you
else?
You have homework?
No, like I'm just like I'll like do like baking soda volcanoes in my kitchen or something.
That'd be really
make
good
up for it.
content.
Yeah.
You gotta keep.
Well, we should actually keep that under wraps because we pay for it.
Well, we should not tell people. My favorite thing is that when I'm pretty sure this is true, when I comment on something, I get a little badge.
Yeah. So if you look in the comment section, you'll usually see these guys, and they'll have like a purple like crown like next to their name.
Yeah. But you only have one post that you've done for only subscribers.
Yeah. Well, that was just testing it out because.
So.
I don't want to like.
So you should put them all crazy. I guess you're not really in a position to do that yet. You're more in a growth phase.
Yeah.
And then we'll move into the monetization phase.
So I will say I know someone. Shout out to Caudell. He's a subscriber, and that got him like a congrats comment from you.
Oh yeah. No, always.
It's worth it.
How many subscribers do you have? Can you reveal?
I have 20.
Okay, modest.
Yeah,
modest.
Yeah, that's good money.
But I wonder how many of the subscribers I would know.
Well, one of them's on your team, Mario.
Mm-hmm. Well, two of them.
They might not. They might want to be anonymous. But
oh yeah, there's another person who also lives out in Boulder.
Okay.
And then
so probably like 5 to 10.
The rest are like high schoolers.
Okay, I probably don't know any of the high schoolers.
So we got to get those. If you're watching this, it's worth it.
It's
Go
99
subscribe.
cents a month.
Yeah.
And it gives you essentially
all access pass.
It's an all access pass.
You get to spend all my lab time with me. Last semester when I was in lab 3 times a week, I was posting on there.
Yeah.
just crushing that lab content.
I'm just thinking about it from the perspective of this guy is giving me so much entertaining content every single day. The least I can do is give him 99 cents a month. You know, he's earned it and more. So everyone check him out, subscribe. Let's get those numbers up a little bit because it's well deserved. And then maybe he can see. The thing is with that main page is like that money is just like. I was trying to think I was going to say you could invest that money in your account somehow, but I don't even know what you could do.
That's why we don't run successful meme pages.
Yeah, you need to be investing in this, and this.
Wouldn't even think about it. So you've come such a long way and got a long road ahead of you. Is there any other questions that we have today for Mr. No Context, Tom?
Yeah, all mine revolve around your secret folder of the the rejects, the can't post, the too fars,
the X-rated content. Is there anything else that you want to talk about while we have you on the show?
I don't think so. Other than a little apology to Olli. Back during Worlds, I may have made a premature post that, similar to Tom's tattoo, may have led to poor performance.
What did you do?
I posted him wearing a gold medal from Worlds before he was out of the second round. And that's like my biggest regret with that account, with this account, is because this is the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Ollie will greatly appreciate hearing that apology and knowing who to finally who to blame.
Yeah.
For what
it wasn't even Eugene, it was me.
Yeah. There was no context all along. Well, thank you very much for coming on. It's been much appreciated. It's been a lovely chat with you. I think from here on the show, we'll hopefully just be getting into a little race recap with the boys, Ollie and George. So I'll be back in a second. And we're back. And if you're watching the video, you can see that the settings have dramatically changed. The boys are here in St Moritz. Guys, how are you guys settling in there?
Very well.
Pretty good, yeah.
Good to be back. Quite a wintry St Moritz. We're slightly underdressed for the occasion right now, but this is what are we, 8:15 p.m. or something?
Yeah.
So
about 8 o'clock.
That's pretty good if you're watching.
Yeah.
Otherwise, to explain it, there's a mountain and there's some sun still at this hour of the night, but way more snow than I was expecting. Like all the mountains around here still covered in snow. So some chilly mornings and nights, but yeah, beautiful during the day. Same old St Moritz.
Just feels like you never left, huh? I always forget how beautiful it is, and then every time everyone floods in there, I just see all these pictures on Instagram. Like, yeah, it's still so pretty, because Boulder is just like, I guess it's not actually in the mountains. If we were in a town that was in the mountains here in Colorado, maybe it would be comparable, but compared to Boulder, it's a different universe up there. So
it's like being in Frisco. Actually, this reminds me a bit of Frisco, Colorado. Like up to 70, there's like a lake and like mountains and a town. I feel like it's like the Swiss version of that. I love that town.
Maybe we should relocate the group there then. I don't know.
They crank out construction here though. It's what we've come to realize every time we come back. Maybe it's because the winter they just can't do anything. But we get back here and we're sitting up on this like nice balcony during the day, and there's just jackhammer noises all day.
They're pretty efficient though. They get things done.
Yeah.
It's definitely the vibe because.
Lanes. Oh, sorry, Mom. They're putting in a couple more lanes.
I saw construction.
Track. Maybe adding two lanes big. Or something?
They had lane 6 in there.
Preparing for a very busy pre-World Champs time, we're guessing.
Yeah, it'll be hectic in the next few months. I can imagine a lot of federations are going to be based up here using the resources and the beautiful surroundings to get ready for Budapest. So it'll be pretty interesting, I think, just to like kind of use the track in any way, shape or form. Like I think it'll be pretty hard. This with the amount of people.
We'll just be going now. 8:30 p.m. workouts.
Yeah.
That's when the big dogs do it. Get away from the paparazzi. Go 8 p.m.
Yeah, Jakob just goes in the dark. Jingy, I mean.
Jingies?
Jingle
bells? Jingle bells?
Speaking of jingle bells, we have a couple of race recaps, as you guys listening know. I think we'll start off first with George, just going chronological order. George took a trip back to LA, third time, racing another steeple there. How was it, man? It was an interesting 2-day meet. We talked about how big it was going into it. You were on the distance night, Friday night, and I've heard reports that the weather was once again a bit of a letdown, et cetera, but it was a really solid race. So yeah, how was the trip for you?
The meet actually delivered in a big way, I would say. I was quite impressed with whoever put it on. USATF, I guess. They actually came through. It almost felt like pre-classic at this time of year, like, but not in Eugene. Like it felt like just a big US meet, like very nice hotel at UCLA. Like everything was so down to the little things, just like very well put together, which was pretty cool to be at. And obviously the Saturday meet was pretty high roller. But yeah, back to LA. Feels like I just go back and forth every few weeks to LA at the moment, which is not too bad because it's pretty easy, honestly. And yeah, got into another steeple. Obviously, we talked about last week, like obviously the goal, or the A goal, was, hopefully getting a race that was going the standard, and put my nose in, and try and tick that off. But didn't turn out that way. It's tough to get in a race that goes the standard, especially in the US. Like, they didn't provide or we didn't find a pacer either way. I don't know if no one's willing to get a pacer, or it's quite hard to get. I'm imagining a steeple pacer that can run 65s that isn't just wanting to be in the race already. We thought there was talk of the day of that we were going to find the kid who'd just run regionals the day before, but hadn't made nationals, so was going to come back and run a K or something, but didn't end up happening. So John Gay paced it, which apparently he does every single time anyway. He said afterwards, he's like, if you run a steeple in the US, you can pretty much rely on me to be at the front. So kudos to him for doing that. Wasn't quite, it wasn't an 8:10 race, but great race up front by those guys. NCAA champ from last year, I think, won the race in 8:17. George was third in 8:21, which a bit fucking frustrating, honestly. I was pretty annoyed after. Well, just it's frustrating to go back and run the exact same race a couple of weeks later, pretty much. Just felt like I could have taken a big step if everything kind of lined up. And struggled in the water a bit this time. I don't know if anyone was watching, or it's hard to describe, but the water jump at UCLA is right off the end of the straight. It's not they've made a new curve and put it halfway between. They've just put a straight line between 200 meter mark and just a point on the curve. They just drew a straight line and dropped the barrier 4 or 5 strides off the end of the straight, which was definitely made the approach a little more awkward, and felt like I wasn't as smooth over the water jumps. And most people said that, honestly. And then you had to take I almost felt like a 90-degree turn back onto the track. So that was a bit of a bummer. And then it wasn't a race where I felt good and then got tired. It got hard a few laps in. I felt pretty flat pretty early on, and that's tough in a steeple where you want to feel bouncy, you want to feel fresh, and feel like the hurdle is a no big deal. But just jumping was feeling a bit harder than I would have liked. And another 8:20, which is, it's weird to think that that's that would have got me to Tokyo and Eugene, which is pretty weird. But it just feels like going out and running 13:25 or something, or 3:37. It's good enough that people say nice job. It's yeah, but it's also that annoying time that is just a little away from what you want. And I've run 13:25 to 13:30 a lot, and it's fucking annoying. Now I don't want to keep running 8:20 a bunch. Just yeah.
I would say the bar is very high. You've said, you're setting the bar very high for yourself, and I think that is the nature of it now that they put the standard at 8:15. Because previously, if someone ran 8:15 in the steeple, that's pretty crazy. We've talked about it before. That's essentially your national record. So even though you're disappointed, your bar is set extremely high, and as you said, that time would have qualified you for previous championships. And I think that you can rely that if you continually ran that time, your ranking would be up there. And especially if you're doing it in races like that and getting, those extra points for coming third. So I see where you're coming from, but it's still a pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing that you've only done 3 steeples and the bar is so high. If you look at it like that, that's kind of you can know that you can go and run 8:20 even when you're feeling flat, as you said. And I have to imagine that the steeple's got to be an event where on your good days it feels so good, but on the not so good days it must feel so much worse, just because the barriers would just magnify everything.
Mm-hmm. It's not an event you don't want to feel good for. You definitely want to feel recovered for it.
Yeah. So I think you did great. You had a really solid finish with some really good guys in there. And I could tell watching you run it that you wanted to be just up a little bit more and feeling a bit more comfortable. I saw you
that
having
was almost the thing. Like,
yeah.
I just couldn't even get to like the front, which is where I would have liked to be. Kind of just got stuck in like
Mhm.
fourth, fifth, sixth, and just didn't have like the pop to get around people.
Yeah.
But had a decent last 100 to sneak by old Big Bird and John Gay.
Yeah. So I mean,
But there was honestly, I think the
that's
weather was
quality.
pretty good. There were some good races that night. Pretty epic 5K by Abdi Hamid. Shout out.
That
Hitting the
5K
deck.
was amazing.
Hitting the deck in the first 200 meters, getting up and running 13:05 from the front, the last K. Dude's insane. That's so
Yeah,
impressive.
I don't know what his last 800 was, but once he took it, the way that he just went for it and closed so hard, he looked extremely strong. He looks so good
I
running
remember
like that.
when he passed us, like we were at the 200 mark, and he passed us, and we were like doing the maths, and he had to run like 2:29 to get the standard. So his last K must have been like 2:28 maybe.
Wow. And he looked,
And that
yeah, he
was
did look
that's when
really
he
good.
like that's when he came around and took the lead.
Yeah. And another, the high school 5K record got broken by, was it Lex or Leo? I'm not sure which young brother did it, but
I don't know.
run fast while you're young, as they say. Got the 5K record, which is just silly to think how quick those kids are racing. I'm very happy that I'm not an American high schooler in this era, because I'm pretty sure I was running like 14:20 at that time, and I'd be almost a minute behind these kids that are just crushing it. So they've really just changed the whole game. It's really silly to think about. So yeah, it was a great night. And then Josette the next day competed in the 1500 and ran 4 flat. Did she come third or fourth?
Third behind
Which
Ethiopian and a dark sky
Katie
girl who ran
Snowden.
4 flat 0.04 or something. So
she also
freaking
closed
close.
in a 60, I think, and the Ethiopian girl closed in a 59 to run 357 or whatever it was. So
The 1500s
that was
were
a
really
pretty
impressive too.
fire. Yeah, and the men's 1500. Ollie, do you have any comments on the men's 1500?
I think like Tim doing Tim things, man. Like he's one of those guys that can just go out there and like run 331 purely off just being as talented as he is. I think probably the highlight for me was Hobbs Kessler. I think it's a lot of people's highlights. 332. I loved his interview with Citrus Mag afterwards, saying that he was sick of getting his ass kicked domestically. He wanted to put himself in it, put his nose in it, and he was rewarded with a 2-second PB. I think it was. I think he was 334 before that. It's just amazing to see, because those sort of situations with high schoolers, getting those big deals, a lot of expectations, anticipation of like what they can do. But I think he's been one of those guys that like he's had some performances that maybe he wasn't really feeling like he was hitting his potential at that point. Like last year, I think he was running 36, 37s maybe, but now like hitting 32, like he's shown how strong and how talented he is. So he's going to be crushing it. Coupeteer getting, I think he was second. Was Coupeteer second or third?
No, he was behind
Third.
Hobbs.
Hobbs
Third.
was second.
Hobbs was second,
There
yeah.
were 2 Chariots.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chariot
sorry.
won.
Yeah, you're correct.
Chariot won. Hobbs caught Teardrop at the end, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So great run from Cooper Teardrop as well. 332. Like now those two guys have the standard. It gives Yard a bit of competition. I think he'd be a bit too bored at USA Champs if he didn't have a little bit of competition. Keep him on his toes, but pretty awesome racing there. Like it's nice to see that boys, particularly domestically, can get like shots at fast races like that, because I think everyone thinks, oh, I was going to go to Europe and try and run fast, and people can do it in the US too. So really cool to see.
I didn't believe Chariot was running until I saw him in the hotel. I was like, why would Tim Chariot come all the way to LA?
Because it was Nike. It was a Nike sponsored meet. He probably had it in his requirement for his contract.
Jingy wasn't there.
Yeah, but Jingy's a bit different, I think, with the European system, and like he's probably done a lot other events like Berlin, which I think is also Nike sponsored. But
I mean, that's a plausible theory, because I know I talked to some Nike guys and they did say they had to be there.
I think it's like one of the requirements that you can do, and I think Tim, like, he probably looked at it. He likes going to the US. He's talked about his fondness for Pre. So, I mean, if it's a good situation, a good race, I mean, he definitely took advantage of it.
I also heard that
Sorry, I have a weird theory. Maybe they tricked him and they told him it was pre. And then he turned up and he's like, wait, this isn't pre. This is the wrong city.
Well, they did tell him that it was going to be a mile for a few days, and he refused to come. So they changed it. They changed it back to a 1500 because otherwise he wasn't going to go.
Was he coming from Kenya or was he coming from America? Do you know where he was training before it? Because it seems like Rabat is a lot closer, but
exactly. That's why I was like, no way Tim Churro actually shows up.
I mean, we don't know the situation. Potentially Nike or USATF could have given him an appearance fee. I mean, he is a world champion, so a guy like that deserves an appearance fee to turn up to a big meet. Definitely. He's got a good fan base. He's a great bloke, and he's also one of those guys where if he's in the field, it's going to be a pretty competitive race or fast race. So I'm sure there was something in the agreement. Maybe it's to do with his contract, or maybe he got some money. But maybe he just decided that the LA meet was a meet that he was more preferred to do than Rabat. So. But it is strange because Rabat would have been a closer travel for him. But you could say vice versa for me, Yara to Mario. Why did we go to Rabat instead of running LA Grand Prix? You just don't know what races are going to pull out, what times or what situations are going to happen. It's just you pick the race that you're going to do. Whether it's a 23-hour trip or a 90-minute trip, you just pick that race and you look forward to racing against whatever competition you have. So it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's true.
That's very well put.
Tim Churro never runs like 3:36 either. Like if he's going somewhere, he's running like 3:31, 3:32.
Yeah. He's also running at least 3:50 for the mile too. So he's a guy that turns up and gets competitive at that top level. I really loved him, and it was cool to see him get the dub, and he has the world lead. So it's awesome for him.
Yeah, and definitely awesome for those US boys as well. The fact that
100%.
Am I correct in saying that Hobbs' time was the fastest time ever by an American on American soil? Did you guys see that?
That is correct, because the American soil record is with Josh Kerr at 3:31. But I don't know if Tim.
It was Evan, and he was 32.99 or something.
Yeah, I don't think Tim broke Josh Kerr's US soil record. I think Kerr still has it because they would have mentioned it potentially, but I could be wrong. But yeah, that's the fastest by a US athlete on US soil. So good on Hobbs and good on Very Nice Track Club.
It's easy to forget he's 20 years old.
Yeah, he's a young gun. He'll be pretty talented coming through. I'm excited to watch him at USA's as well, like battle it out with Yard. So it'll be pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, blows my mind. But I think that's a nice segue into more 1500 meter running, which was Ollie's just mentioned how long the trip was to get out to Morocco. We were talking about it before. We were joking about because when you travel from the US to Africa, it's always going to be a crazy trip. But I know the boys were really excited because it was an amazing field going into it and an opportunity to go race. I think we all really enjoyed the places that this sport takes us. And I think Morocco is a great example of that. So how were those first few days when you landed in Africa? Have you been to Africa, George?
Mm-hmm. But Southern Africa, like South Africa.
Tick that box.
So
I was jealous because I've never been there. But how was Morocco?
It was amazing. It was very different. It was also like kind of what I expected, but it was very lovely place. I think in my list of Diamond Leagues that I've done, purely from hospitality, hotel, meet, atmosphere, scheduling, everything like that, I think Rabat's now my top 3 of Diamond Leagues. It was really well run. Hospitality was incredible. We got chaperoned like straight off the plane. It was a very long trip, just to give you guys a bit of reference. So we flew from Denver to Chicago, and then we flew from Chicago to Paris. Then we had to go through numerous checkpoints where Yared's laundry-soaked passport didn't scan, so he had to go through separate tunnels to get through to the next checkpoint. But he made the flight, don't worry. We got from Paris to Rabat, and it was a long journey. And we got in. They took us straight through. They cut the line to the diplomat line for the passport check-in. We got stamps. They took us on the athlete transport. We went straight through past the Royal Palace into this beautiful hotel. Very, very, very nice people. Had a very food was amazing. Just the whole kind of setup of the meet was great. The only issue I did have with it wasn't very friendly to distance runners. Not many places to run. We spent a lot of time on the treadmills. We did some, pre-race shakeout with Jingy and Fingy. So that was a good time. And leading into the race, stadium was massive, very cool. I think there's like a section in the stadium. You probably don't see it unless El Bakkali's coming up to get a kiss from the king of Morocco. But the royal family sits there for the meet.
It's pretty dope.
And they have free
They
transport.
showed the politicians a lot during El Bakkali's race. They kept showing the politicians because they were going crazy.
That's the royal family. So the royal family was there. The buses that were picking up people was public transport. It was free. It was free entry for Moroccans. So it was amazing. It was very, very loud. Same kind of situation happens, except this year it was handled where I think people knew that the crowd wasn't going to be quiet and everyone just knew just to go off the gun. So when we started the 1500 meter race, the kids were just not quieting down. They had videos. They had a lion kind of trying to shush people.
All of that. Do they like think it's funny or what? They're just not interested in being quiet. I saw them like all trying to get people to be quiet.
I don't think they know
it on the commentary, like so loud.
Yeah, I don't think they know. Like they just don't. They're just having a good time and they're celebrating. Yeah, just getting really excited and amped for the race. I mean, there was an issue with the hurdles. Devon Allen almost got DQ'd again for false starting, but it was to do with the crowd being too loud. So they were trying to calm them down, and it was the same thing for the 1500. But yeah, I just recapping my race, like definitely going in pretty nervous. Like, first big race after a while, like a bit of time getting ready for the big season ahead. And my goal, I think I talked about last week, was to try and move on Jakob at the best possible time. I was able to get a decent start. Once I walked out on the track, it was beautiful weather. We got to the line and then it got really windy. So that was a good advantage for me because I was able to get a decent start, lock in behind Jingy, get a good view while we roll through the laps. And I think the second lap was 59. So it slowed down quite a bit from, I think the initial lap was 55.7. So we knew then it wasn't just going to be a fast race. It was more of a tactical situation. And I was trying to go at the right time. I felt amazing. I felt like it was a classic thing from Oslo where I was like, okay, I can get him. Like, this is the race. I'm feeling great, feeling prepared. And then when I got to the back straight, I was thinking of making a move, but the wind kind of came in, a little bit of gust. And I was like, oh, if I stay behind him and I get sheltered from this wind, I might be able to get him around the bend to the straight. And he was just way too classy for that. And he was able to kick down really hard. And I just didn't have the legs in the last 100 meters. And then Yared took his time to come past me and take second place. And I finished third and ran 3:33, which is like the best season opener, even in a tactical situation of a race. Like, that's the fastest opener I've had since being a pro. And I remember going like to the core room and sitting down and being like very, very brief moment, being extremely disappointed. Just thinking like, it's the same old. Like, I get behind Jakob in the first race or first outing of Diamond League, and then I just can't be competitive with him at all. But I quickly changed my tone on it, thinking positively of like, I'm in a pretty good situation personally if I'm disappointed with a third place in a Diamond League with that kind of field. So I definitely took a lot of positives out of it in that regard, but it was definitely a situation where I got to grow and learn from this race and hopefully be more competitive with him and with Yared in the future. But yeah, just didn't have the legs the last 100 meters, was able to come through with a third place at Diamond League. So still pretty amazing achievement. I was copping a bit of slack on social media from people saying that we just let Jakob take the race. And I mean, fair to them. Like, you definitely want to try and take a bit of control away from him, but you got to remember this guy is the best in the world and he's run 3:28 and 3:46. So it's very hard to kind of take control off him if he's in a good situation and is able to close down in 26 low. And personally, yeah, it was a good meet, and took a lot away from it. And very proud of where I am at the moment. And hopefully there's a lot of growth in the next couple of weeks leading into Oslo, because I think me, Yared, and Mario are very keen to run a really fast race, and Oslo is going to be a pretty stacked field. I think besides Jake Whiteman, it's pretty much a world final with the amount of caliber of athletes in there. So yeah, that's my recap. I was pretty excited, and the people there were amazing. Shout out to Rabat and everyone involved, volunteers, and everyone turning up, showing out, and being excited about track and field. We did do a workout afterwards, just a little fun time where we worked out, and Thingy and Jingy were working out, and there was fireworks after the race. It went for, I not kid you not, 30 minutes. 30 minutes straight of fireworks.
No way.
And we didn't see them coming. And then they went off, and it sounded like gunshots. And then me, Mario, and I just went straight to the floor. We were doing a workout, and we just heard these gunshots go off. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And then we turn around, and there's these beautiful fireworks going off of the green and red Moroccan colors. And they definitely put on a great meet. So kudos to them. And we had a great time there. The travel from there, though, to St Moritz was hard. We only got about 2 hours of sleep, and then we had to be on a bus to a flight through from Rabat to Paris to Zurich, and then a 4-hour train ride from Zurich to St Moritz. So Sage, myself, Mario, and Yao were very, very tired. It was another long trip, but it was definitely worth it. We had a great time.
I feel like the question is, do you feel like you've ticked off the Rabat Diamond League, or would you go back next year?
So I spoke to Ritz about it, and the meet was amazing. Like everything was. It was one of those meets where it was really, really well run. Nice food, nice accommodation. Everyone really enjoyed being there, and it was a different place. Like it wasn't somewhere where you expect to go. Morocco was very cool. Like there's an outdoor mall just made out of like sandstone and with like massive palm trees just like around the place. It was beautiful. It was a really cool place. Obviously, I'm describing the very wealthy sections. There are sections where they're underpoverished and quite, quite terrible.
Didn't you get just a small scam?
I did get scammed. Yeah, I got scammed. Well,
tell us about the scam story.
Technically, Mario got scammed, but we went we just wanted to get out of the hotel, so we went for a walk around the mall to grab some coffee. And I mean, look at me. I'm a blue-eyed bloke. I'm pretty easy to spot out in Rabat, and we went up to get a coffee. And
so they saw you coming.
They saw me coming. We got out to get a coffee, and Mario tried to speak Spanish to see if some of them spoke Spanish, but it was mostly French or Arabic. We got 5 coffees, and Mario scanned his card, and it came up with a green tick, but we couldn't read what it said. It was in Arabic, and she kind of kept saying that it wasn't going through, it wasn't paid for. But then Mario said, no, like we scanned it. I think it went through. We picked up our coffees and left because we had the tick and everything. Anyway, so we had our coffees, and then we were going to bring the tray back because we thought, oh, we can't leave the tray here. We probably have to bring it back. We go back, and she keeps saying that the thing didn't go through, and we didn't want to cause any trouble. So she's saying that they only take cash because the card thing's not working. So I went, okay, I'll go down and withdraw some cash. So I withdrew some currency there and came back and paid for it. So it was $7 for 5 coffees. And then we paid another $7. But I did feel like when I was coming up, I was like, I think they're scamming us. So I said, Mario, can you please check the transaction if it went through? But he didn't have a service, so we had to wait to get back to the hotel. Sure enough, it went through, and she double bubbled. So I gave her a tip. Definitely love a bit of grinding there. But $14 for 5 coffees. That's like
pretty good price.
Pretty good price compared to like what you used to.
That's what I was gonna say.
2 coffees is $18. So
still coming out on top.
Still coming out on top, supporting the community. That's what I felt.
Boosting the economy.
Boosting the economy in Rabat with our $7 extra payment for our coffees. But yeah, it was amazing. With Ritz, I kind of said, I'd love to do it again, but I don't think the travel. I think we underestimated the travel. Like, obviously, you can't complain about travel or anything like that affecting your racing and stuff. But a lot of the athletes were coming from Spain and other places that were about a 45, 50-minute trip, and we had a 21-hour trip. So it was a long trip to then go and perform, which we did. Mario got caught behind. I think he could have come through a lot better. But in general, Ritz would say, we've got to be at least in Europe or somewhere maybe 10 days before if you really want to be competitive at Rabat. But I'd love to do that meet again. I think it was fantastic. It's definitely one of my top 3 Diamond League experiences, and I'm fortunate enough to have a few of those, just depending on what Ritz wants to do with that moving forward. I think he would probably lean against it just purely from the travel situation, not from the meet. The meet was amazing, but more he'd want us in St Moritz, relaxed, composed, bit of time under our belts, and I think the travel to here to St Moritz has also taken a lot out of us as well. So we just need to reassess, recoup, and then really enjoy our time in Europe, which is what we're doing now. But yeah, you could see us in the future going there. I'd love to go back. It was amazing.
Yeah. It was, I think you guys all did pretty great. Like, and you already mentioned Yared came through for second, which is huge. And then Mario also had a great season opener. He was caught back a bit, as you said. I don't know if Olli, you and Jakob definitely raced that the best. Like, out of everyone. I don't know if did you notice how much carnage there was behind you in the first 200 of that race? Like, it was going out so quick, and there's so many people.
So I the past few 1500s I've run, because of the way the 1500 has been run now, it's everyone's like, got to get out, got to get out, got to get out. But if you watch other guys run, is that they get out, get clear, and then the next bend's like 200 meter into to home straight. That's when you position.
Jingy and Stewie have figured that out.
Yeah, and
really well.
I
they
kind
just
of
go all the way around the outside and then pick whatever spot they want.
So I don't know if you watch, but I kind of did the same thing. I kind of figured it out and thought, like, don't panic now, just get clear of people and then make your move 200 in, because a lot of those guys can't keep that pace going. Like they're going out in 12, 13 seconds. That pace isn't going to continue. So there is time to move through and progress. And I was able to get behind Jakob in a good position. And then once I was there and I kind of composed myself, I thought, wow, I feel amazing. It slowed down. I think this is the race where I can close. And yeah, there was a bit of carnage. Mario said he got caught behind a few people and he couldn't progress through because he couldn't really get through on the outside, and those issues will happen. But I think in Oslo, we're not going to do obviously a preview of Oslo yet, but I think that race is going to be completely different, because you're going to have the whole field being able to go with that pace lineup and then keep going, keep progressing. So you won't really get caught. If you get caught behind someone, you're still running 57, 56 pace. So it will be interesting to see how that
There's
goes.
going to be no 59s in Oslo. There'll be no 59 laps in Oslo.
Yeah, that was the one thing I did talk to Ritz about. That was kind of like, maybe I should have just taken the lead and kept squeezing, because even though I potentially would have got caught anyway, like with the guys behind me and with the wind, I would have made it a quicker race, and I think it might have taken the kick out of some people, because my strength is there, but my speed at the end is definitely not. So, but yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But it was a great race. It was nice to see Jingy again. He's got some extra tattoos now, so it's good to see.
Reunited.
He didn't comment on my new tattoos, but it's fine. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to keep progressing, and hopefully he'll notice them in Oslo.
No, that's a great some great takeaways there. And also we should definitely mention, shout out to Sage coming third in 800, picking up right where she left off, looking very good for her first 800 of the season in a very stacked field as well. That was like a very quality 800. So she's looking great as well. And then she's actually off to Florence. We'll do a very quick preview. The crew is racing in Florence Diamond League, which is Friday of this week. So likely when you listen to this podcast, there's a good chance it'll already have happened. But just want to give a shout out to our teammates that are racing there. We have Joe in the 5K. Did you guys see that Woody just got added?
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just got added in. So everyone's there in the 5K. It'll be, and we already talked about how crazy that 5K is going to be. So it'll be an amazing one. And then we have Sage pacing the 1500, which is, according to our Instagram caption, a world record attempt, which also has Josette and Cinta in the field. So they're all trying to do amazing things out there. So we hope that you guys are cheering for them or have already cheered for them and all that. But yeah, fully in the swing of things. Boys in St Moritz, Diamond League's happening. I wish I was there. My only update is that, one, the weather is like beautiful here again. Like it's perfect. And two, I don't know if, George, you saw my Strava, but I decided to do a caffeine detox.
I was just about to ask about this. I want to hear details.
Can I ask why?
So when Tom Wang was here, I felt like we drank a lot of coffee. I mean, we did drink a lot of coffee, and I used to do this like more regularly. Sometimes I like to have a little detox so that if I'm drinking one coffee a day, I feel content. Because I think that I was getting to the point where like I really felt like I needed like 2 or 3 coffees. And I like to drink 2 sometimes, but I don't like to feel like I need to drink 2. So I decided to try a little reset, and this is like the worst thing ever. Like I felt so bad, and because it coincides with these big bumps. Like my mileage is increasing a lot every week, so my legs are shattered every single run right now, and now like my mind and my body are also shattered. So it's just the most painful. Like it's so bad right now, and so I think I'm only going to do like 3 days, and then I'll come back.
3-day detox, like not even tea.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing. I just because it sucks.
Yeah, no Mountain
Dew. No Mountain Dew for Morgs.
No Mountain Dew. God damn it. But yeah, when I run is like when it's at its worst, because the first half an hour, I think your body's like kind of the same always. And then I'm used to getting that burst of energy and goodness, and I just don't have that. So then, when I go for the run, I feel terrible, and then it's midday now. I start feeling like pretty normal and good again. So that's
You should let us know how you feel coming off the detox, if it's like a big peak, because young Beetlejuice was telling me in LA that he does a mini detox before the race, like the couple of days before, and then hits caffeine before the race.
See, I'm so looking forward to that first coffee whenever I get to drink it again. Like, it's gonna feel so good, but I just don't know if it's worth it. Like, putting yourself through this pain for just that one hit. But I guess we'll find out next week. I'll give the recap of the detox. But
we sound like drug addicts.
Yeah, no, it does actually. It's like AA or something.
We can all try
a counseling session.
Dude, it's brutal out here. But I think that's it for us. Anything else from St Moritz, boys?
Not a lot to add.
Not a lot to add.
Coffee has improved slightly because our friends at On have been kind enough to provide actually a very nice espresso machine.
Yeah. No, it's been
clutch.
It's definitely like the one thing that
quality of life is just
gone through the roof.
Gone through the roof.
Because the one thing I complained about personally was like just not being able to get a good coffee, and like having that machine and just being able to be in control of what coffee you get. Also, it's a lot cheaper than going out and spending 6-7 francs for a coffee. So we're very thankful to On for dropping off a coffee machine here in the St Moritz apartments. Pretty cool.
Well, that's huge. That's huge for team morale. And with that, I think we'll close out episode 88. Thank you very much to everyone for listening. We'll see you guys next week.